Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece chapter 956, and ooh boy, what a chapter this was. All right, so let's start this review. I'm going to start this review by saying that I think the best way to describe this whole chapter in a nutshell is that everything just went to shit. Like it started off small, but eventually everything just from top on of this whole chapter just blew wide open, and everything just went crazy as fucking shit. Uh, the first thing is that we learned that the warlord says that is. The first thing is that we basically cut back and forth to the events of the reverie, and one of the things that happened in the reverie is that the warlord system has been abolished, and now it's just become and from there the entire chapter just turned into a total manhunt. A total manhunt has start a total manhunt against every single one of the pirates who were considered it's basically warlords of the sea, which honestly isn't all that surprising, since I'm sure Riku and Cobra had compelling cases in order for it to happen. But the biggest question I have, and I'm sure a lot of people have in this whole thing with the warlord system being abolished, is what role, if any, that pretty much Fujitora had in this, or will play in the future now, because we have to remember one thing that was established from early on in the Dressrosa arc after Fujitora after Fujitora was more or less introduced, is that Fujitora's whole goal is to get rid of the entire warlord system in general. And the mere fact that from something like this happened, and Oda didn't even give Fujitora a mention once in the chapter, leads me to believe that with this whole like warlord system, with the reverie like agreeing in order to abolish the warlord system, this in a way tells me that probably something happened, that something about this happened in a way where it didn't exactly play out 100% how Fujitora wanted or was expecting it to. So yeah, that in itself is just the biggest question I have now, which from what from Fujitora's response and next move with this is going to be, because like again, it is obviously, like, again, it is something that Fujitora has wanted for so long. He's made it clear that abolishing the warlord system is one of the key things he wanted done, and it is done now. So like, obviously for him, this would be considered a perfect thing to happen. But the fact that pretty much Oda had pretty much left any appearance of Fujitora out of this means something probably went a little bit awry in Fujitora's, in something about this probably like pretty much caused like Fujitora's own plan in order to go awry, I think. Now, the chapter also heavily leaned, also had heavily heavy, also was also heavily leaning towards the idea that Sabo and Vivi are dead, and this is one of those moments where, until I see dead bodies, I do not believe it for a second. And more than likely, what happened is that Vivi and Sabo ended up getting wrapped up in a series of events that forced them in order to flee Marie Joie, and in that attempt, something happened that pretty much gave the appearance they died. Now, if I had to take a guess as to what actually went down, though, I'm assuming it's from what I'm assuming it's something that obviously has been built up for a while now, which is that Vivi had become the next light that pretty much Im ordered to be extinguished, which in itself raises the question of what happened to Cobra after Reverie, if he's dead or if he's still alive. But yeah, I think that probably is more the likely scenario is that pretty much is that Vivi ended up being targeted as the next light that pretty much Eam had wanted to had Eam wanted to be extinguished from history. And yeah, Vivi probably ended up escaping with Sabo. But again, if Eam had intended to, in order to wipe the Alabasta, in order to wipe like Vivi from like history, it would make sense in order to wipe Cobra too, in order to do the same to Cobra, like considering that they're like the royalty of Alabasta. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Cobra was one of the people who ended up targeted as well. Though whether he's dead or alive, that remains to be seen, I guess. But yeah, I think Vivi at the very least has probably survived. And she probably got wrapped up in a mission Sabo was doing like during the time he was at Marie Joie or something, and they both just ended up escaping together. Also, side note to this, kudos to fucking Morgans. That bird is once again showing why I love his character. I mean, he just said, fuck the government, like, even after being threatened, he basically said, fuck the government, I'm gonna do what I want. Like, I cannot deny that bird has integrity. I love it. Like, he's just gonna report the news. It doesn't matter what the fuck it is, he's gonna do it, which... Yeah, as someone who basically went to broadcasting school and has a little experience in reporting and anchoring and all that, I gotta give him credit for just having a reporter's integrity, which, yeah, I think we can all agree is something that has been severely lost in the current age, but whatever. So, one major reveal we learn in this chapter is that X-Drake, for what we can assume is conceivably the entire time he's been one of Kaido's allies, has actually been deep undercover for the Marines, and that's one of those reveals where I want to know for how long he's been undercover. I mean, has it only been for as long as he's been with Kaido, or has it been longer than that? And every moment we've gotten to see with him until now has been him putting on an act while secretly still working for the Marines. Like that's one of those questions that it raises the question. It definitely raises the question of how long he's definitely been undercover and been a member of this sword faction of the Marines. Personally, for now, for me personally, it's one of those things where, or pretty much until we get actual clarification, I'm gonna say it all started in between the pre and post time skip. Like that's the benchmark I'm setting. Like it happened somewhere in between that time frame, but I'm assuming whenever you learn. Whenever you learn this is whenever Oda is going to give us more details on this sword faction of the Marines. Like I think at the same time where we get a little more detail on this sword faction is at the exact same moment that we're going to get more in detail as to how long that pretty much X-Drake has been with the Marines. I mean, conceivably, if you think of his past, it could be he's been. If you conceivably think of his past, it wouldn't be too hard to. It wouldn't be too hard to, in order to see that he's been with the Marines this entire time. But yeah. For now, we're just gonna have to assume he's We're just gonna have to assume it's a. We can only assume as to how long he's been with the Marines this entire time, I guess. Now another thing we get is we also get to see Kobe again, who's not only part of this sword faction as well, but also a rear admiral. So yeah, it's good to see him rise into the ranks. But with this rise in the ranks, this really this only puts him like a rank away from achieving his dream and becoming admiral. In Admiral. Admiral. And the other big thing with his introduction though is he's going to capture Boa Hancock, which I find myself really split in the middle in terms of how I want this to play, how I want that to play out, versus how I'm kind of expecting it to play out. How I want it to play out is just a full on brawl. It's just a full on brawl between like from Kobe and Hancock until one of them ends up knocked out or Hancock ends up captured. But what I think is more likely going to happen is they'll definitely start to fight, but then obviously they'll probably end up they'll end up learning of each other's connection to Luffy and they'll both play it up as in a convincing way that is going to allow like Prince Hancock to escape. But in either of these situations, one thing that I really want this, I really want to see a pretty much good battle between like Hancock and Kobe. Like Kobe especially, I really like the one thing with Kobe is I feel he really hasn't had like a like in the post time skip. I feel he hasn't had a real moment in order to flex his muscles and really show like how pretty much how strong he's gotten as a Marine. So even if they play it up even if Hancock and Luffy end up playing it up even if Hancock and Kobe end up playing it up in a way that allows Hancock to escape, one thing I just really want is I want to see her get her moment. I want to see Kobe like get his moment to shine and show how strong he really is. That's the one thing I really want. And yeah, I don't know if it's surprising or unsurprising, but the only one I'm not feeling sorry for in this whole Warlord hunt is Buggy. I mean, it's about damn time that all his trickery and luck like started to bite him in the ass, and yet I wouldn't be surprised in the least if this whole thing ended up leading him back to where it always has, allying with Luffy. Like, you pretty much know, like, Hancock, I think, is more than obviously going to ally with Luffy after this, but you just know that Buggy's going to run away in fear, and he's going to ally with Luffy. It's going to fucking happen, people. You know it's going to. I'm right. But, yeah. But, yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Crunchyroll. Dead Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.